Did you think we was down and out? You thought we was down and out after watching that terrible first half? No, we turned it around. We got it together. Mr. Chris Boswell hit 6. Not 1, not 2, not 3, not 4, not 5. No, it was 6. I'm not going to say not 6. I'm not LeBron James talking about stuff that's supposed to happen that didn't happen, Mr. Oh, we're going to have 8 championships that actually didn't happen. You only got 1, 2, and then you went to Cleveland, got 1. It doesn't matter. Oh, Cleveland absolutely sucks if we want to talk about football. Mr. 0-14. But let's talk a little bit Cincinnati right here. First half, they completely shut us down. I was really upset. I was sitting over here ready to throw my chair at somebody. But second half, we turned it around. I want to go outside and give everybody a hug because we got a fifth straight win. Mr. Le'Veon Bell, that beast in that backfield, over 100 plus yards, over 140 plus yards, all purpose. Yet again, he didn't quite get to 150, but that doesn't matter. He got 140. I think he's the first person to do that since Jerome Bettis. I believe it was 5 straight games, maybe 6 straight games, whatever the case may be. Le'Veon Bell, absolute beast. He cannot be stopped. Antonio Brown, I believe he ended the game with about 6 receptions, whatever the case may be. Let me say something about the first half. He only had 4 targets. Big Ben, that cannot happen. All right? That cannot happen. There's no reason why we should be trailing in the game. Antonio Brown only has 4 targets in the first half. We got to get the ball to our best player. Eli Rogers, great game. Ladarius Green, great game. Jesse James, great game on the blocking. But you dropped a pass that almost got picked off. That cannot happen moving forward. Mr. Sammy Coates, good returns by you. Good routes by you. You caught your first reception since week, I believe, 9 against New England. Come out here. You know, your fingers are kind of broken. Get your fingers good. Like I told you, get some frozen hot dogs. Put that sumbitch in the glove and go out there and catch some footballs. Because we're going to need you to catch footballs next week when we go play against Baltimore. I'll talk about them a little bit later. All right? Defense, absolutely atrocious performance in the first half. All right? You could not stop the Cincinnati Bengals. You were able to keep them out the end zone with the exception of 1 time. But you could not stop the Cincinnati Bengals offense. They went down and scored 4 times in the first half on us. 4 times. What you do when you went inside during halftime? You sat down. Mr. James Harrison probably stood up. Mike Tomlin probably said a speech. Big Ben probably said a speech like he did back in 2008 when we played against the Baltimore Ravens and went to the halftime. We absolutely were losing. Scored 15 points in a span of 12 seconds. That's what we're supposed to do. You came out in the second half. You held the Bengals to under 50, or I believe between 50 and 75 yards the entire second half. That is how you play football, Mr. T. Law, Mr. Law Dog, Mr. Lawrence Timmons with the interception. Another week in a row with an interception. No, was it last week he picked it up against the Giants? No, the Giants was 2 weeks ago. He got an interception today. All right, that's how you play defense. Shazier all over the field. Artie Burns, he didn't get burned. All right, Brandon LaFell was having his way with you and Cockrell all over the first half. The second half, I believe you only had, what, 1, maybe 2 catches? It doesn't matter. You came and you showed up. If you had your eyes open and your eyes were open like William Gay whenever the ball's coming towards him and he has the opportunity to run it back for a pick 6, I believe he got 5 on the career. Well, I got 10 fingers up. I shouldn't say 10. You only got 8 fingers. The thumb is not really a finger. But William Gay, he got 5 pick 6s on his career. He need to get another one next week against Baltimore. I'm still going to get to Baltimore. But we played well on defense in the second half. Special teams, Mr. Boswell. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 field goals through the uprights. We have to be able to finish drives. There's no reason why he should be kicking 6 field goals, but I'm happy because he went perfect on the day. He didn't miss one as I scratch the back of my head. I'll kick off return. Not I kick off return. I kick off coverage team. With the exception of Boswell making that tackle. We absolutely sucked this week, all right? There's no reason why that returner for Cincinnati catching the ball, running up and down the sidelines all day long on us. That's not happening next week because we're playing against who? The Baltimore Ravens. Who they happen to have returning kicks for them? Oh, I don't know. Maybe the best kick returner of all time, Mr. Devin Hester. That will not be able to happen next week or we will be destroyed at home. All right? Now let me just finish off with Cincinnati like this. Mr. Vontaze Burfict, you injured Le'Veon Bell, you injured Ben Roethlisberger, you injured Antonio Brown. Today, David DeCastro came around on a pull, on I believe it was a counter play, and he laid you the hell out. You went into the locker room, you happened to come back out, and what'd you do? You proceeded to go from your 1 penalty all season to having about 5 on yourself today. I hope you feel good about yourself, buddy, because come January, when you got to sip that hot cocoa, because it's real cold in Cincinnati in January, you're going to be watching on your television screen as the Pittsburgh Steelers will be running up through the playoff ranks on the way to the Super Bowl. We're not going to talk about the Super Bowl yet because we got to get into the playoffs, all right? Marvin Lewis, you said yourself, you didn't speak to Vontaze Burfict all year long about the Pittsburgh Steelers because you felt, oh, he has to deal with the scrutiny himself. Understand, he had 1 penalty the whole year. He came out here and committed 5. You need to be fired. You are a terrible coach. I don't care if we share the same skin color. I don't care if I'm supposed to be backing you. You absolutely suck as a head coach. You gone 13, I believe 14 years as the head coach of the Cincinnati Bengals. Zero playoff wins. All these appearances, I believe you went to the playoffs, what, 6, 7 years? Whatever the case may have been, you have 0 playoff wins. You need to be fired. I expect on Tuesday to hear Marvin Lewis fired, head coach of the Cincinnati Bengals, 13 years. Or even if you're not fired this Tuesday, let's wait until January after the season is done. Marvin Lewis, 13 plus years, 14 plus years as the head coach of the Cincinnati Bengals. He is fired, and he's claimed by a team to be a defensive coordinator. Matter of fact, I should even say defensive coordinator because the defense absolutely sucks. Andy Dalton, you came out, you played the best that you could. I read a couple of the comments on my videos. A lot of people, Cincinnati fans, came over saying, Andy Dalton's the reason why they've been winning games. And I agree. He is. But what was he able to do today? Absolute nothing. Absolutely nothing. All right, now let's talk about the Baltimore Ravens. Baltimore Ravens, they played against, the Philadelphia Eagles today. For the same Philadelphia Eagles that destroyed us in week 3. You know what they did? They came out and they started out great, but they started to collapse. Philly came back. They went for what would have been a go-ahead touchdown. No, let me correct myself. A go-tie touchdown. But when they scored the goddamn touchdown, they decided, you know what? Let's go for it all and throw a slant. I love the call, but you should always go for those 2-point conversions on the ground. They didn't do it. They threw it over the middle, and it happened to hit the floor. It didn't get picked off like what Malcolm Butler did to the Seahawks in the Super Bowl. Oh, no, it hit whoever's the name of the receiver hands. I don't follow their receivers. I only follow the receivers of the Pittsburgh Steelers. It hit the floor. It hit the floor incomplete. Baltimore happened to get the W. Let me tell you something. Baltimore crumbled last week. I don't believe they're going to crumble this week. We cannot allow ourselves to go out and play at home and have Baltimore show up and take the lead against us. All right? Because I can understand, Big Ben is wonderful in the clutch. He is wonderful in the 4th quarter. However, he's not having a Matthew Stafford 4th quarter season this season, so I don't want to have to worry about going into the 4th quarter hoping for Big Ben to take us back from a loss. All right? From losing. I don't want to have that happen. We have to show up big time next week. Whatever we did in the second half, take that momentum and go straight into next week. And best believe this, we are playing at home. Big Ben is a beast at home. So I'm going to need that beast to show up next week. I'm going to need him to hand it off to another beast, a big Le'Veon Bell. And I'm using a lot of emphasis on the B's when I'm talking about the Pittsburgh Steelers. And there's another beast on the outside, Mr. Antonio Brown. All right? We got to get the ball to him. Ladarius Green, I don't know if you got to go through the concussion protocol, whatever the case may be. I need you to be here next week. Eli Rogers, wonderful game today. I'm going to need you to show up next week. Mr. Artie Burns, good job today. Cockrell, good job today. William Gay, good job today. Mike Mitchell, good job today. Ryan Shazier, good job today. Lawrence Timmons, good job today. Defensive line, I need you guys to be healthy. All right? Mr. Mike Wallace, former Pittsburgh Steeler, man who had 95-yard touchdown against us when we played. I don't need to have that happen, all right? This week, it is a must-win Super Bowl kind of game, all right? Week 17 no longer matters against the Cleveland Browns. It no longer matters. This week 16 game, that is our Super Bowl. Because if we lose, we are probably not going to the playoffs. All right? We must win this game. All right? Keep the train rolling. But as far as I'm concerned, we got 5 straight wins. Like I said before, we need 7. We need to walk into the playoffs on a 7-game win streak. We got 5 out of 7. Keep the train rolling, win another game, and whoop Baltimore and kick them out of the playoffs just like we did to Cincinnati today. All right? Get it done. Big time win. Big time come from behind victory. Keep the doggone train rolling.